Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined, as always, by multi-Emmy award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. Today, we're recapping week 1 of June 2023. Chris, what's going on, man?
You know, it's another good week of Jim and Sam. We had a loaded, I think, extremely loaded week of great content. You know, I told you when they came back from vacation, they'd bring a lot of good stories and a lot of new things, and I think we learned a ton this week.
Absolutely. They always do. I'm always a big fan of the first day of the week shows, especially after a long break. There's always so much to get to. And like you said, the stories are amazing. We got a lot of great stories. We got a lot to get to. We were talking before the show. I think Troy has been on fire since doing our show. I mean, maybe a little pat on the back. Sam keeps bringing up his appearance on our show. Troy is just firing in lines, being hilarious. And then, Sam's also on fire quite a bit with some hilarity as well. And there's something I want to tell everyone to be on the lookout for. You're actually working on another podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, it's funny because I am one of 8 children. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers. I'm the baby of the family. And being the youngest, my folks were a little bit older. So I had a dad that was 18 years old and serving in the Army in World War II. So as part of my brother's recent trip to Europe, he was tracing my dad's steps. I thought it'd be really kind of cool to talk to him about it and see, all the things that he went through. Now, my dad was 42 when he had me, which was, I was a little young, for all the stories that dad told when he was, he's no longer with us, but when he was alive, he told us some great stories. And I didn't get them all. So my brother retraced his steps. We're going to talk about it. It's called Our World War II Dad. And looking to have that posted probably on Father's Day. It'd make a good day to have that out. So that's what we're working on. Thanks, man. What's going on with you? What are you working on?
Guys, if you saw me shaking my head, I shake my head when there's a perfect title or something. Just you guys nailed it, and such a great thing for you and your family. That's awesome, man. I can't wait. Thanks. I recently interviewed Tom Holland, who seemed like just gave me some good stuff about how he'd like to be on screen with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. And then I'm just reading everyone else. Everyone else got the big scoops about how he's taking a year off and Spider-Man's in limbo, Spider-Man 4. But I'm still kind of happy with what we talked about. And Friday here, my story with the comedian Louis Black just went up. Some great stuff on the writer's strike and why Jon Stewart is such a good debater of sorts. So, yeah, thank you. And be on the lookout for those, everybody.
So a busy week for us, but, let's get to the reason why we're here. Let's talk a little bit about Jim and Sam and where we want to begin.
Unfortunately, I think there was some sad news, but it brought about some great moments, some highlights from Jim and Sam and Opie and Anthony. R.I.P. to the Iron Sheik and Pat Cooper. I mean, Sheik, we know Sam did a great job, as he always does with wrestling, kind of breaking down how meaningful Sheik was to back then WWF and WWE overall, with kind of being the heel to put Hulk Hogan over at Madison Square Gardens, as Sam kept saying, which is how the Sheik would say it. And Pat Cooper, just an amazing insult comic. And Jim had a great point about how, Don Rickles did the same thing, but he was Mr. Warmth. Pat Cooper was just vicious. And he was great on Stern and great on Opie and Anthony.
The boys mentioned it too. He said, Jim said, I really knew Pat a lot and not Iron Sheik, and switch it for Sam. He knew Iron Sheik more than Pat. And they had great things to say. Of course, we got to hear the Iron Sheik's song that Troy put out, the Camel Clutch, which did get stuck in my head, as Jim said it would. And then Pat, it was some good stories about his interaction with Patrice, and these two legends, and you wouldn't think Pat would like Patrice or vice versa, but you could tell this admiration for each other when they're working together on Tough Crowd. So yeah, it was a sad week, but it was nice to reflect on those guys' career.
Absolutely. Great to hear those old clips. And speaking of clips, I mean, we just can't stop getting mentioned by the show we cover very diligently here. Jim and Sam, I think Sam's usually the one bringing it up and giving us credit and referencing our interview with Troy, and it happened again, and we really, really appreciate it. Mr.
Yeah,
Muppets.
it's really nice that they mention us. They of course don't have to do that, but he respects that we really want to do a good job here, and that we research and that we present the material. But also, he said that Troy was a little shy about talking about his legendary status with us, as he is with the other guys there. But it's legendary, and it's quite a status. So he should be very proud of that. And then, of course, another little nod to us a little bit. I'm reading into this a great deal, but Sam mentioned towards the end of, I think, Thursday's show, his one question segments that he used to do. He talked about that, and he said they were talking about Taylor Swift, and he said that he did have a one question for Taylor Swift where he said, he had to wait long for this junket. They brought her in and wait forever to get in the moment to come up to her and say, "Do you like grapes?" She said, "Yes." He goes, "Thank you very much." And that was it. So it was kind of cool that we mentioned one question last week in our recap of some of the best moments, and Sam brought it back for us. So I hope we get a little bit more. It'd be nice to Sam to pass the torch and maybe have someone else. Montone would be great at a one question. So maybe we'll send some guys out.
We'll see. And now it's the perfect vision news instead of the lazy eyewitness news, perhaps.
That's right.
So yeah, and another thing that was kind of unfortunate, it felt bad for New Yorkers this week with the air quality. I mean, those pictures. I was not taking the air for granted here in Chicago, kind of walking around the other day with nice weather. Things were orange. It looked terrible. Sam talked about how it's kind of like, it almost felt like you're going back into COVID with the masks. And someone, you might remember who it was, at a good point about how, you're not seeing images of the wildfires. You're just seeing images of the air here to kind of, point out our narcissism.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Sam also brought up that maybe this, who's going to be the first conspiracy theorist to bring up these, maybe it's not the wildfires that are creating these orange clouds. Maybe it's something, sinister. And Travis, in reference to that said, yeah, it's from Big Mask, in reference to Big Pharma. So it's Big Mask. So watch out. They're going to be in control. But yeah, it was sad to see that. And then Jim, of course, they talked about the smoke was coming down from Quebec. And Jim, mentioned, he goes, Jim is always inquisitive, right? He wants to know specific. And he's like, where is it coming from Quebec? And Sam goes,
"Can I go to the bathroom?"
Yeah, he goes, "Where's it coming from, Quebec?" And he's like, Sam goes, "I don't know the address." It's like, it's coming from Quebec. It's a fire there. It's just, I just love their impatience with Jim, and I think Jim understands that too.
Absolutely, and he would definitely be looking for a place to go in Quebec.
Speaking
of Jim, there is so much. We've been chronicling domesticated Jim. There's always so much to talk about. There's always developments, and this might be the most domesticated Jim jam-packed episode we've had, Chris. Right, I'm going to go through our domesticated Jim topics, and then we'll just kind of dissect them how we please here. We got
so many levels, so many different things
much to dive into.
It's just, I couldn't imagine. They were on vacation. Yep. We got some stuff at home that really built up from this whole week that were just, treats and little, great nuggets for all of us.
It's like trying to get our chips into a 7-layer dip here. We got, vacation, staycation, a lot happened. Jim's was forced to take an Uber because of the air quality from his girlfriend. He called it henpecking. There was a domestic incident with his girlfriend forgetting that she was boiling eggs, burning the eggs, and then having to leave him on the terrace to cool off. She doesn't like when Jim says he has to, how does he phrase it exactly? Do you remember?
For which part? How does he phrase it?
The Jim stew talk. What does he say?
Oh, yeah.
Petrified stew?
Yeah, Jim fortunately didn't feel good and had some petrified stew he had to drop off. So she didn't like that reference to what going number 2 was for him. So yeah, petrified stew. I don't think I like it either, but I can get it.
Not if those are eating. There's also, she wanted him to take a cab anytime that there's a thunderstorm or possibly even raining to avoid lightning. And Jim is, as we've been seeing, he's been going deeper and deeper into the Facebook chats, into eBay. Jim is now, as I believe, as he put it, officially addicted to eBay and buying as many Kiss posters from other countries, too, as he can. And not only is that going to cost a pretty penny, his girlfriend is talking to Lisa, Travis's lovely wife, and we do know that she is a woman of high taste. And lastly, Jim is afraid of grilling. So, Chris, all those, I'm gonna let you jump in and see what's on the top of your mind.
I have a couple takes on each one of these, so I will go quickly. But I will tell you, first of all, Jim's living situation with his girlfriend should be a reality show. I think Florentine really brought that to light, and with Sam did. It's so funny and it's just so odd. I just love to see that. So yes, they went on vacation. They went to Providence, so that's P-Town, I guess, and we're there. And Jim made a purchase. You remember what Jim purchased in P-Town? If you don't, I'll share it with you.
I'm going to let you say it because I know you're excited about it.
I am very excited. He got a bucket hat. Jim got a bucket hat because he wanted to be like Ian. And they said he looks a little bit like the lead singer for New Radicals. And so I haven't looked that up. I will need to do that. So everybody, if you want to pull up that picture, that's what Jim looks like. And then let's talk about the egg incident, right? They're going to boil some eggs. The eggs were left on the pot or on the stove too long. And and started burning. And it was as if it was level 3 catastrophe, call 911 fire department for Jim's girlfriend. And they had to take it out to the terrace and set the eggs out there. Now, this has happened to me. I'm not sure if it's happened to you, but if you put water and you boil some eggs and you forget about it, all the water evaporates and leaves the pot.
Yeah.
And the eggs remain. So now you have flame, a metal pot, and eggs and shells. So yes, it does burn the eggs. They do start smelling. It happens. I think if you just turn off the fire on the stove or the electricity, whatever you have on there, and move it's all going to be fine. But
yeah,
they had some issues there.
And this sounded like possibly as much of a catastrophe as I think still an unidentified bug. Was it a hornet? Was it a bee that got behind the who was that poster signed by?
It was oh my gosh, Woody Allen? Maybe? No?
I think you're right.
Yep.
Behind the Woody Allen poster, you are right. I know you're right. And Travis, give him credit, said that after someone said that this could him living with his girlfriend could be a reality show, Travis said no one would believe it. And that's kind of how we feel.
100% true.
I don't know if we deserve all this gloriousness. The Uber. So I had predicted that he was going to go on a cruise, I believe. And while I was wrong about that during a break, because we know he likes to surprise us during breaks like the Iceland trip, he is going to be on a cruise performing with Bert Kreischer. So that's interesting.
Book your tickets now. I think we need to have. I know they're having another podcast on there. I think we should get the invite to do the Jim and Sam Town Square podcast on the cruise. So Jim, if you happen to hear this,
all we ask for is free room and board, and a little
place
bit,
to talk like
for
this,
the guys.
Exactly. But so the vacation stuff kind of led off with Troy becoming Florida Troy. He's a different person when he's in Florida versus New York. He bought a grill and a smoker. The thing is huge if you saw it on Instagram. And his girlfriend and he are doing a lot of fiance, I should say, doing a lot of grilling, which led to thinking, Jim, I need to grill, but he's worried about using gas grills and had to get callers to help him with it. It's you turn the gas on, you grill, you turn the gas off, end of story. I mean, you can do burgers, you can do steaks, we can do hot dogs, whatever you need to do. He's a little afraid of that, but that's okay because Jim is turning into a domesticated person. One other thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to turn it back over to you to kind of wrap up this segment, is, Jim got addicted to the Kiss posters, right? He bought a lot of them. How many do you think that he bought over this last period of time? Because he bought the Chopper posters and then found that they were factory sealed ones, and I think he bought those too. Sam was scrolling through it, and it was a long list. Do you think he bought over 10? What's the over and under?
Yeah, I think Travis brought to attention how long the scrolling was happening. I think for me, the over under is 15. I think 10 would have been like a logical person who's excited about this and maybe finding it for the first time. But he's been on the hunt for a while. He had some time off. There was things going on causing a stir or a panic with the girlfriend at the apartment. So yeah, I think at least 15, maybe 20.
Yeah, you're probably right. And then the girlfriend was talking to Lisa because she is a woman of higher stock than Travis for sure. And she has great taste. Anytime, Sam brought up anytime that, Lisa's talking to their significant others, it's just going to be an expensive affair. And, but I'll tell you what, Lisa brought the guys pizza from Frank's Pepe. And I think any, ill will feelings about Lisa being of higher stock and corrupting their significant others was put them, to the side because this great pizza brought in for the guys. And it was a definite treat and a lot of high marks for Lisa.
Also a reminder of how overly dedicated Jim gets to his nutrition and fitness. We know he loves Frank Pepe's pizza, and he was just happy to smell it.
He didn't partake.
He thanked her for bringing it in just so he could smell it. I don't know how you don't have one or two pieces. If he knows he's going to exercise later or get right back on the diet, I mean, he for better or worse, he commits. The Kiss posters, the diet. Jim is a man who commits, and it is admirable. It
definitely is. And I have to do that a little bit too because I was, as Jim would say, a fat piggy boy most recently, and I dropped 20. So no, you're not. You look terrific, but. Where I wouldn't be able to do that is if I was at a party or a cookout or something. Yeah. It sounds like we might get the soiree this weekend. My money is on this weekend. I don't know how you feel. It could be happening. We're taping Friday. Could be happening right here on Friday, and we don't know anything about it. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if they do the soiree. So I might have to upgrade to professional corporate Zoom to cover the soiree. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait, dude. You know who I wonder gets an invite to the soiree? One of Jim's close friends, Jim Florentine. And talk about his appearance, I believe it was on Monday. My God, just right out of the gate, just an incredible guest. He doesn't go in as much as Voss and Bob Kelly, but we know he's a lifelong friend of Jim. Not lifelong, I'm sorry, they started a career together, basically.
Right. I know what you're saying. But, at this point, they are career-long, lifelong friends, would you say? Yeah.
Both represented by Johnny Brand Muffins. And look, this appearance by Florentine and what he always brings to the show makes me want to ask our listeners and Jim and Sam fans, is Florentine the most underrated guest in the history of Jim and Sam?
You make a really valid point because he has this kind of just sit in and it's like he's been the third chair for a while, just kind of picks it up and goes with it. He has rapport with Sam when they're talking about stupid Sam's food choices and
Chili's,
the restaurants that he goes
Fridays,
to. He can share all in the sports thing, and fantasy football with all the guys there and Montone and everybody. He can talk music, and Troy's right there because Jim did a lot of stuff with what was the Eddie Trunks show? Anyway, the VH1 show that Jim was on for a while, but that
metal show,
that metal show, right? And then of course he has this relationship with Jim and the history there, and in that relationship with Jim, he also worked a lot with Voss, right? Yeah. And he brought a ton of Voss stories. Why don't you share a couple of the Voss stories that Florentine brought?
And his stories are always great. We heard him talk about Eminem too, but these Voss stories were unreal, and they were kind of focused on one theme, and that is being Mr. Voss is tight with a penny. We heard about a single George Foreman grill while he's headlining dates. This sounds like pretty later into his career.
Traveling with that on a plane, right?
What's that?
He traveled with that on planes.
On planes, and Voss said he called in to defend himself later, as he tends to do. And he said it wasn't the last several years, but before that, he was still doing this. So there was that. There's a single George Foreman grill. There is a collapsible coffee pot. Well, I mean, there was I feel there's one or two other things.
There's one more that Jim brought, and I think it's what Jim kicked everything off of. He's like, do you remember that time? And I think maybe Norton was there, but Florentine said, remember that time when Voss got the extra lobster tails? After the meal that he was served from working and brought those lobster tails home and was going to take them to travel home with him and ended up eating them in one of the, like the Delta Lounge or something like that. It's just, come on, bud, come on. And then, of course, the persistance, I can't say that French word, but it's, what I'm saying. They, this is before Florentine got there, that Rich fell for a Facebook car giveaway. A car giveaway, so much so that when he did call in, Jim goes, "Hey, are you driving a new car right now?" So he just kind of got in there. So next thing you know, he's going to be donating his money to Arabian Prince that might hit him up on email.
Oh my god! And I want to say real quick, with Voss being cheap, Sam, this is how Sam has used all the comedians he's hung out with in the studio, from Opie and Anthony and Jim and Sam, and going to shows. It's all rubbed off on him. Because he made a comment about Voss when, Voss, my generation, a lot of comics my age, they open for him or work with him at a club. And it is kind of a tradition that headliners, if you're a cool headliner, like when I was doing stand-up, you buy lunch for the guys. And Sam goes, these guys think, they're going to get a lunch from Rich Voss. He's got old lobster tails. He's got his George Foreman. It's not happening. He's way too
they're
cheap.
Talking about him maybe making some hot dogs for him. But after he made his own hot dogs on the grill, would he serve his other, or there it is right there. Go ahead and you can make some. There's the buns and there's a wieners.
So disappointing. Several guys bought me lunch. It was super cool. And you look at cool. Headliners when you're.
Of course, that's what you should do when you're making the money.
Yeah, not Voss though.
No, not Voss.
We got to get to another big item this week, and it feels like there might be a breath of fresh air in the studio. We got a guy named Cooper as a new intern, and I'll ask you first. What are your impressions of Cooper?
Yeah, he's young, which I like. He's going to bring in this thing that has a little, like you said, a little breath of fresh air. He's not shy to speak up.
I like it.
Yeah. And I saw that he was also, quick to look things up on the other laptop. Travis was looking up one thing. He'll look up another. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing on who's running the show there because Travis was looking up something. Cooper looked it up and Cooper got it wrong. So Travis had to make sure that he knew his place a little bit. But no, it was fine. Exactly, he's learning his way, but he's doing great. And of course, Troy tried to corrupt him a little bit. You want to
Troy
share
tried
that?
to turn him right off the bat. He
Yeah.
tried to bring him right to him and Jim's level with a certain type of element that we hear on the show. And this is what I'm going to be listening to with the more I hear Cooper is when Troy is asking him stuff like if he likes a certain kind of adult video, or if he, I don't know if I could
Those
say
things.
eats a perhaps
Okay.
things like that.
Yes.
I didn't hear any responses to these questions. I think Travis and Sam, being the little bit more square,
More
were
business
cutting him off.
approach. Yeah.
Yeah, they're cutting him off from asking those things. So like I'm gonna be paying attention to see how Cooper kind of interacts and responds to Troy as
When I
things.
was listening to that, I was thinking about, maybe, if you sign up for an internship on the Jim and Sam show
You
on
should
this kind
know
of thing, I think you're probably vetted. He's an adult, and you know that this is what's going to happen and what you could talk about in the subject matter. I just think that maybe, Travis and Sam are a little protective of that and want to make sure that they don't lose an intern if he turns out to be a good one, which I think he will be.
I just realized that you never have a beverage during our show. I have two almost every show. I don't know if they call me Scotty Beverages.
I don't think you watch enough, but you'll see a big red mug which has like the cold drink, and then of course I'm having tea here. My voice is a little
okay. I do recognize your mug. I do recognize the mug. I just don't want them to call me Scotty Beverages in the comments. So.
Well, you also are doing a very good job of displaying the things you purchased from the Chip website, and
it is part of the show.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on theme and everything. But
yes.
We talked about Cooper. We talked about the guys really sharing things. They got another delivery. They got
Speaking
something
of merchandise,
else in the mail. Yes, go.
No, I was just happy to see. There was so much made of the original Edna Faust T-shirts that were gifted to the show that had to be corrected, and there were some new ones that came in. I like these ones. I got to give props to Triumph Printing Company. That name stood out to me because I work for a publisher called Triumph, my full-time job, doing PR for them. So they had a great picture of Edna. She looked amazing, and they had the Dunkin' Donuts colors for the words "cold coffee." I thought those were great shirts.
Yeah, it was good to see that. But they had to deliver those. They had to come in through a box, probably through the mail, coming to the guys. Have you ever had to take things to drop them off at the post office? Send packages.
I'm going today. I've talked about before about my collectibles, mostly buying and selling comics. Sold one. I got to take today, so I'm gonna be at the post office today.
Yeah. Nice. Someone has a little more challenges when they go to the post office and try that. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what Jim was experiencing.
You might remember exactly the specifics of why he was on a mission at the post office, but I can 100% identify with him kind of ranting about how disgruntled they are. They really are. And you can understand why. I mean, so much, if you watch Seinfeld, Newman would always talk about the mail just keeps coming. So,
yeah, it's a running joke with the post office employees being disgruntled and the DMV employees, but yeah, it just make it easy. Just answer my questions. Just make it easier.
I didn't give you a hard. I know there's a lot of people here and people are miserable and customer service is tough. And the mail keeps coming, but I'm not being a jerk. So I don't remember exactly what Jim was trying to do there, but I think they made him get out of line. And
yeah, he was just having a hard time, and he knows better. Like, as soon as you raise your voice or start cursing, then you're done, either on the phone or in person. I've had some customer service issues of late, and they're not big deals because my customer service issues center around maybe $10, $15 worth of a product. But my son went to go pick up a Little Caesars pizza. Hope they'll never sponsor us because I'm not really happy with them right now. And got this pizza, and it's up on my Twitter, and I might have to retweet Little Caesars again because I've gotten zero help from them. I tell them about this situation. This is how my pizza shows
Tell them how big
up.
we are in Ireland. You got to tell them how big this
we are big in Ireland. I don't know if they have Little Caesars in Ireland, but maybe they do. But I share with them, just this is a disappointment, keeping it cool and clean. Oh, sir, would you please call us our customer service number? A call? No answer. Rings. Tell them I called that. Will you please reach out to me? It just goes circle and circle and nothing ever happens. So as a treat, what I'll do is when you let our viewers know that this episode has been posted, I'll put that in the comments of the Twitter.
Please do.
And you can see exactly what this pizza looked like because it was sad. And customer service just stinks anymore.
It's terrible. And that was a disgraceful pizza pie that I saw on your Twitter. What's your Twitter real quick so guys can look at it?
It's Chris Cangella, the same as you see when we put our little names up there on this video thing. But yeah, ChrisCangilla at Chris
Make sure you
Cangilla.
follow us both, because Chris is great with the production about putting our Twitter handles up there. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if because of who we are and our platform, that someone else might find out about this wrong and write it. Maybe send you a nice Schnatter's pie. You never know.
Or Frank's Pepe, because I think that's the one to have. Right?
Import from New York.
Exactly.
All right. We got to touch on this now. I still am dying to see. I think it was Chip that Jim did a VR video with Chip, I think, doing the Darth Vader game. And I'm reminded of this. I still want to see it because they talked about the unveiling of the new Apple Vision Pro. And it's VR and AR. AR is augmented reality, right? I'm still kind of learning about all this.
And it's, really affordable at $4,000 a unit. So that should be great. And their push, as Sam was going through it, is that you can have this on and still parent. As you have young children. So I'm sure that your wife would love for you to have a VR headset on there, because it takes images of your eyes and projects them on the outside of the vision thing. So it looks like you're paying attention to your kids. I mean, I'll wait to see it. I think we need to try these things to see how they work, but it looks crazy. I do want to bring up, I read this book, and trust me, I don't read a lot. My wife will tell you. I'm more of a visual learner, but I had court duty, jury duty, I should say.
It sounds like you had to report to court for something.
I know, it does sound like, no, I had jury duty, and you can't bring in your phones, at least you couldn't back then. So I had to get a paperback, and I got this Ready Player One. I don't know if you've ever read this book. They made it into a movie. The movie wasn't great, but it's all about this. It's, not a post, apocalypse kind of thing, but it's, the kind of world we're going to, where things are just not the best for America, and everybody's kind of tuning out and putting these VR headsets on, and their kids are screaming and they're just doing their thing. And it's exactly, what this Vision Pro might lead us to. So we'll see. But, Travis mentioned that there was, this thing has a lot of cool technology. And Jim said, what? You're just gathering that by reading the article, or did you actually see it in here? I mean, it's right in front of your face. It was fun.
I'm sure it's good, and I think that everyone kind of agreed it's going to be better than the metaverse terrible Wii characters.
Oh God,
it's a big sidebar on that spot for Jim. Yeah,
I saw a really cool reel or a TikTok or something where guys are playing softball, and it's from this view, and they're playing as if they're the Wii characters, where they bounce around when they run to this thing, and then when they make a catch, they catch the ball and they look like they do in the Wii characters look at you. So it's really funny. If you ever get a chance, anybody listening get a chance to see the live action Wii characters playing baseball, it's what I think of when Jim talks about how horrible the meta people look without
Check
legs.
It out. The Wii dodgeball game was amazing. My friends and I play after the bars after college. Side note there. Something, this is great. Sometimes you get a gem from the past that, like, I think I missed this one. Because I remember on Opie and Anthony, they had a whole thing with Tony Danza, and they would talk about Tony
Spider-Man in his Spider-Man costume when he was hosting his Tony Danza. He was package positive, if you want to say that.
Yes, there's that, and they ragged on him so much that I think he had to call the show at one point, and it was just amazing. They ripped on his talk show so much. But there's a picture of Jim with Tony Danza. And there may or may not have been some stains on Jim's shirt. I'll let you field if you want to. How deep you want to dive into that?
Thank you. I'll tell you what. I was hoping that you're going to take this one. It seems like I've done the heavy lifting in our other podcast, but yeah, threw it at me, so I'll take it. Yeah, there was a stain that Jim would make. That Jim makes probably every night, and it was on his shirt. And he took a picture. And we're not sure if the shirt was washed and had that stain still there, or if the shirt wasn't even washed. And the picture was taken with Tony Danza, but there it is, and the guys had a good time looking at it, and maybe not looking at it, but seeing Jim taking a picture with a celebrity and having that on his shirt.
It was probably Pepsi.
It was Pepsi. It was Pepsi for sure.
Pepsi. Another perhaps disaster, not on a shirt, but on the prep sheet. And look, we love Jim and Sam. The Jim and Sam program supports this program, but I don't know if we can take more prep sheet follies and disasters like this. This time, when Mike Cannon, a show regular, was a guest, they had on the prep sheet to ask it, Mike, about the what I'm trying to think what social media site it was.
I'm not sure if he, he's an influencer.
The guy's handle is Waxing22, and I don't think it was Instagram, but it was on prep sheet to ask Mike about Waxing22, and it took him a good almost couple minutes to figure out who they're talking about.
And he posted about him long time ago.
Yeah, like
and it was like one
something.
and done and didn't, or like something about it. But yeah. And this guy, and here's the thing, also with the pizza prep that they didn't have, it leads to great commentary. It leads to great stuff. And Travis points that out. It's like, yeah, you guys, it's led to great things here. It's led to some incredible things. So, what can you do?
It was absolutely amazing. My question is why are we seeing these amazing prep sheet follies now? Like, what is someone doing a little more of that than they used to? I don't know, but I love it.
Or maybe they're just pointing it out. Now we're running out of time quickly.
All right,
so I want you to hit some stuff really quick. I don't think we're going to be able to get into it, but we had some B talk when Mike Cannon was there. That was good. I'm going to throw some stuff out there. You tell me what you want to talk about. We talked about Zion's the NBA player's girlfriend and others and the issues around there. I do want to mention this a little bit. I will stand a second on that them looking at Zion's girlfriend, Jim and Troy got in that fog again. And the difference this time is in that fog, Montone played tour director and helped the guys find other things to get, more cloudy on, if you will. And he took them through there. So that was a little crazy. The last one.
Fog. Yeah. I feel like.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, you hit it, man.
I was going to say Troy may have been trying to bring Cooper into that very fog. But yeah, basically they looked up the one Zion girl, and she was a lovely lady. And Troy got so worked up that he had to leave the studio and
take a walk. You took a walk.
What's that?
You took a walk.
He took a walk, man. He's trying to cool off. I think Jim said that he was going to every office and studio asking if someone could take care of it for him.
Yeah. So I want to end before we get to, and if we have time for other things, we'll do them afterwards. Before we get to our best guest in our line of the week, I want to end on what's kind of a sad note is that I think Jim has confirmed that after this contract, he's done, right?
He did. They were talking about a show called Busted Open, I believe, that is on another SiriusXM channel and somehow gets replayed on Faction Talk, Jim and Sam's channel, which they have been trying to get a replay at night on their channel. They don't have one. They used to. And it also was revealed that Sam had been trying to get a wrestling show. Sam was very prominent in the professional wrestling world. So another head scratcher there that couldn't happen. So, but no, there's some show that I had not heard of until the other day getting replayed on their channel, which prompted Jim, once he found out, to say that he is officially going to be done.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you can understand the frustration there. They have 100%. Such great talent and it doesn't seem they use them properly. So should we do, go ahead.
I was going to say another visual. Sam was talking about, I love collectibles, as I've said. Sam was talking about the Marvel Masterpiece cards, and I think his mom put a lock on his bag.
His padlock when he's it's a little Sammy story, right? A little Sammy
great little Sammy story. So no one would take him. And you know what? I just got one graded. This is Psylocke. You can see here. I'm trying.
Yeah, tilt that down just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
She's in the X-Men, and right there you can see a signature from Herb Trimpe, who co-created Psylocke, and more importantly, is credited with co-creating Wolverine.
That's crazy. Do you mind sharing what the ballpark on the card like that would be?
I don't know. His signature, a lot of times when he's created, he's no longer with us, but a lot of times when his creators pass away, it's very valuable. I think this might just go for like $75 or something now, but it's cool to have. I like it. I'm really happy.
You've had it for a while?
A mint 9.
Nice. Yeah, so, it's not one of one.
Tom Brady. Not the one of one like we've heard
of those. Yeah, we've heard of those. All right, let's get to it.
Let's
go to our best guest. Our best guest, if you could.
Best guest, and this week our choices are Jim Florentine, who we talked a lot about already. Mike Cannon, a great appearance from Mike. Some great stories. And Mike's buddy, Brendan Sagalow. Chris, go first. Who is your guest of the week? Best guest.
I'll tell you what. I think, like I said before, Jim fits in so nicely and it just has so much background, that happened before O&A, before Jim and Sam. I loved Jim. Cannon brought the stories of being electrocuted, both his father and himself, which led to a lot of people talking about that. The bees, his corporate gigs, and then he brought just a clunker, which was hilarious, is Rob Delaney's poor performance and set on Jimmy Kimmel, and they just beat it up, and this is when Rob was starting out young, wasn't as good as he is now. And then we had Brendan Sagalow, he was working on his impressions. So I'm sure he as Sam says, need to work on some of those a little bit more. But for me, Mike Cannon brought a lot more. I love Florentine. I always do. He's like the guy that's always putting it up. and putting up 30 points. But Sagalo had a good run this week. How about you?
For me, this week, I don't know if Ricky Gervais could have beat Florentine's Voss Stories. And
Yeah,
like we
they
said,
were good.
Florentine,
They were good.
just such an incredible rapport with both Jim and Sam and history of the show and history of Opie and Anthony and being instrumental in Jim Norton's career. So just an amazing performance. He's the best guest for me. Now, Chris, I'm going to have you start off Line of the Week, our other big segment that we usually have towards the end of the show.
Absolutely. And I limit it to just one today because I
All
knew
right.
we were going to be tight on time since we had such great stuff. But during the bee talk, and of course they were watching videos of hornets and nests and guys digging those out or getting rid of the hornets' nests and such. And, Jim brought that to the table. And, Jim said that the reason why he watches these hornet videos at home is he said, I want to see somebody doing something that I'll never experience. And Sam quick back with just, why don't you just keep on watching comedy videos where the audience is actually laughing? So it just is a zinger. And Sam was quick. Sam, of course, doesn't get credit for being a comedic mind as much as the actual comedians that are on the show, but he is so quick. And I think he's learned a lot of how to do it from Jim.
He's always had a great sense of humor. That's why he's not only lasted in this radio world and the Jim and Sam universe, but has been Opie and Anthony, I should say, but is thriving in it because of that. And he picked up all the stuff.
Yeah.
Picked up everything he could from all these legendary comics. So a lot of credit to Sam there. My line of the week, and it came... apparently, this is kind of secondhand as Jim retold it. It came during Jim's vacation when his girlfriend was talking to him about something. And Jim said, "Stop talking. I'm trying not to S my pants." He didn't say S, though.
No, he didn't.
Just picturing someone saying that to a loved one or someone they're attracted to is incredible.
We've talked about that a lot, and I can understand that sentiment because you're doing everything you possibly can just to make it to the restroom. So before we wrap it up for this week, we got to have a little note for next week. I'm going on vacation. I will be listening to Jim and Sam because I'm going driving on vacation. But we may delay in bringing out the podcast. It may not come out as normally, but you're going to take the reins and do the majority of the heavy lifting, and I'll still edit it and put you together. But maybe if you're up for it, you can check in with me. I'm going to be in Nashville, and I can share a little bit of what's going on, and we can put that into the podcast as well.
Let's do it. We're going to take half of the podcast to Nashville. Let's do that. How's that sound? And everyone, be on the lookout for Chris's new podcast about his dad. That sounds incredible.
Thank you. Our World War II Dad. I appreciate it.
I love that title.
Once it goes, I'll ask you all to like it and on all the things that we like things on, and I'll post a little bit about it. But no, another great week, Scott. I can't thank you enough for helping us out here, man.
Thank you, man, and thanks everybody for watching and listening. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I may not be there, but I'll be there in spirit. The rest of you, please join us next week in the town square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not Doug Bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.